From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for 5 and 5. We've got 5 topics, Barry. One bell when we get to the end of each. Let's get right to it. How about this one? Bigger surprise, the Spurs sweep or the Heat-Pacers series tied after 4 games?
I'm going to go with the Spurs sweep. I didn't know if Indiana-Miami would be 2-2, but I thought the Pacers would play them well. It's a tough matchup for Miami. I expected that to be competitive. I thought San Antonio would win. I didn't think they'd sweep the Grizzlies. That surprised me. They knocked out Memphis 3 tight games, 1 blowout. But San Antonio, an elite franchise, they got it done. That to me, though, was a surprise.
Much bigger surprise in my mind, that Spurs sweep. I really didn't think that series would go any less than 6 games. I felt like that was for sure a long-term series. Obviously, when you were watching the Grizzlies play the Thunder, you're aware that the Thunder, being without Russell Westbrook, is a depleted team. But clearly, the Grizzlies have great players. They're really good defensively, pretty good offensively. Didn't think that they would get blown out by the Spurs. I mean, in the series-wise, as you mentioned, 3 close games, but blown out in the series, a sweep, that's pretty surprising to me. All right, Barry, true, false? Adrian Peterson shouldn't have voiced an opinion about gay marriage. The former Oklahoma star said, I'm not down with that earlier this week. Should he have voiced an opinion at all?
Well, I want to say false because I don't know the context, but I assume somebody asked him. So if you get asked, somebody wants an answer, I think it's okay to give an answer. Now, if he called a press conference and stood up on a big gavel and said, here's what I think because I can run a football, then not necessarily, who cares? But if somebody asks you, the answer is, you can give your answer. So I don't have a problem with Adrian doing it, and I thought he handled it with pretty solid. He seemed to indicate that he was against the concept, but I thought was fairly respectful. So I didn't have a problem with it.
If you're somebody with Adrian Peterson's marketing team, I think you say this is true. He shouldn't have voiced an opinion on gay marriage. This guy, obviously one of the best players in the NFL, a lot to love about the way he plays the game. And this opens the door to, some people saying, hey, maybe I don't want to cheer for that guy. Maybe I do want to cheer for that guy. I think it sort of creates some dissidence there that might not have been there before. So if you're in the Peterson marketing team, you probably are saying, man, I wish he wouldn't have said anything about that. That's why sometimes when it comes to a guy like Tiger Woods, for a lot of years, people get so frustrated with Tiger because he doesn't say anything. Michael Jordan, he doesn't say anything on these social issues. And it's a large part because of the marketing side of things. But I agree with you, Barry. If you're asked about it, it's a little bit hard not to say anything. Although marketing, that's a little bit of a different story.
To me, it's refreshing to see somebody who's authentic and doesn't. What you said about Tiger, what you said about Jordan, to me, somebody that's authentic, pro or con, whatever, agree, disagree, authenticity is a good thing sometimes.
All right, back to the questions and answers. Barry, how about this true-false question? Dez Bryant will listen to Michael Jordan, speaking of Michael Jordan's advice to, quote, stay out of trouble. What about that?
Michael Jordan has discovered Dez Bryant's problem, which is stay out of trouble? Why didn't we think of that?
I'm sure Dez had not heard that from anybody else.
Everybody from Mike Gundy to Jerry Jones has said, man, Dez, I don't know what the problem is. And now finally, Michael Jordan's figured it out. Dez, just stay out of trouble. Oh, for crying out loud. No, I don't think Dez is going to follow Jordan's advice. I actually think Dez Bryant would like to stay out of trouble. I don't think he wakes up. Some guys wake up in the morning and say, how can I get in trouble? I don't think that's Dez Bryant. I think he's just sort of naturally drawn to trouble for a lot of reasons. So no, I don't think Michael Jordan is going to have much effect on Dez Bryant. This is a guy that's got a virtual round-the-clock babysitting service from the Dallas Cowboys. So
and still can't stay out of trouble.
He's just predisposed to trouble. So good try, Michael. We applaud your sage wisdom. Please, next thing you're going to do is tell us all to get in out of the rain.
I agree with you, Barry. There's no chance that this works. Dez Bryant sounded like he listened to Michael Jordan, who visited Cowboys practice the other day, said, oh, yeah, great advice from one of the best. Yeah, exactly. But how many times has he heard it? Come on, let's be honest here. All right, our fun question of the week, Barry. Based on a column you wrote earlier this week about The Sandlot, What's your favorite sports movie? Now you're not beholden to The Sandlot, having written about it, but what's your favorite sports
I love
movie?
The Sandlot, I really do, but I got to tell you, and this is sort of I don't know if this brands me as a hopeless romantic or what, but I think my favorite sports movie of all time is Jerry Maguire. I thought it was a fabulous movie. I loved the Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr. relationship, and the football scenes were pretty good, and the whole deal with the agent and the love story. I just thought it was a great movie, and it's one of those movies. I'm a sap. There's little doubt that I'm a sap, but I love Jerry Maguire.
All right, you have Jerry Maguire. I'm gonna go.
And that scene where his girlfriend is in with her sister and all those women who have all the trouble. That's one of my favorite movie scenes of all time, because there's just a bunch of women in there whining about men. And finally, somebody sets him straight. I like that.
All right, you get Jerry Maguire. I'm going to take Hoosiers. I love the movie Hoosiers. Obviously, loosely based on the truth. It's got some, I'm sure, some Hollywoodization of the whole thing. But anytime that movie's on TV, I'll sit and watch it from start to finish. Doesn't matter where it is. Doesn't matter how often I've seen it. I love it, and Hoosiers is great. I love Hoosiers.
You grew up in Kansas. Of course you love it.
Yeah, a little basketball. Why not? All right, lastly, Barry. Women's College World Series getting kicked off late in this week here in Oklahoma City. Best thing about the WCWS?
I think it's two things, and they're connected. Which one is the proximity, the cameras, whether you're watching on TV, or the seats if you're there in person, the proximity to the field and to the players. You're right on top of the action, and it's something that cameras in most sports can't really capture. Basketball some, but you don't really get it in baseball, and you don't really get it in football. And the other thing, and the thing it captures, is the spirit.
Yeah.
The spirit of the players. It comes through whether you're in the stands or whether you're watching on television. It's a fabulous thing. Just the whole setting and the whole scene and the way the girls compete. I just think that's the best thing about it. Whether it's 6-0 or 2-1 in the ninth inning, it's a fabulous spirit, and that's what I love best.
If you don't love the spirit, I think you're a big curmudgeon. I mean, I think some people, there may be a very small faction out there that says, they can do without the chanting and the cheering in the dugout. But to me, it's great. The joy with which the players play the game. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that we come to love certain teams. You just see that joy come out in the way that they play the game. The Oklahoma women's basketball team a couple years ago had that joy, and I think people really glommed onto them because of that, even if they weren't big Sooner fans or women's basketball fans. And you get that out of pretty much every softball team out there, is sort of that spirit, that joy. It's hard not to love. Don't you have to be sort of a stick in the mud not to love it?
Well, yeah, you're right, but there's a lot of stick in the mud walking around.
Unfortunately, that's true. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.